All right, welcome back, everybody. A little bit of housekeeping. That was probably, if you guys want to support the show, you can go to canasense.com and you can either put in Sabrina's name, you can put in Mona's name, or you can put in 663, and that'll help support the show. A lot of our listeners, which we've only been out, we haven't even, this site hasn't even been launched a month. So if you want to support the Downloaded Content Podcast, go to canasense.com and you can put in either any of our names or downloaded content as your sponsor, and we would really appreciate it. Guys, you can find all of our good at downloadedcontent.com. It is the rebirth of the mothership. All of our social media stuff comes through downloadedcontent.com. Look for us on Spotify, look for us on YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. Again, if you go to downloadedcontent.com, it's all there because we're pretty good with websites. What I really want everybody to focus on is if you go to downloadedcontent.com, please put your email address in the newsletter option, because we're going to be putting out not just the recent blog posts and personal newsletters, but a lot of the activist initiatives that are being formed behind the scenes through the newsletters at downloadedcontent.com. We're basically going to be communicating a lot of that stuff. So I think that is the housekeeping that I have. Other than that, Marsha, whenever we were texting back and forth, I was like, okay, nobody cares who we are. Everybody wants a title when you're talking to power. And I was like, all right, what's your title? What's your organization? And you said human and civil rights political analyst. But
Yes.
Where can people find you, and what fancy titles do you have for people in power to be impressed with?
I don't. I have my gifts, and my work speaks for me, and so no, I don't come with any fancy titles. I just get it done. Some might refer to me as a freedom fighter. I am lovingly selfish about Blackness and our culture and making sure that, we aren't shrunk down. And, I would just love one day to get me to get some reparations for my people before I take my final breath. And so that's just, that's just all I can tell you about Marsha Gosier, and just speaking up for, amplifying the voice of the voiceless, and, speaking up and just being a just person. Because even though Sabrina is not a Black woman, like that, I felt that, and that, just that, experience. And it's, that's scary. And, yeah, so that's all. If you, it's kind of like my last name. If you're trying to get something done, go see her.
Yeah. Now, where
I'm
can
gonna try to
people
get
find you on the
like that.
interwebs?
You can. I have a Facebook under my name, and I'm working on my podcast, and so hopefully I will have my podcast and my YouTube channel up and going. I plan on launching in April. And so, the next time I'm here, I'll have all of that great stuff for
Okay.
y'all, because I want them to be able to go plug and play, and let's get some things popping and get some things moving. But yeah,
Probably
you can find me on Facebook, IG, same name.
okay.
Yes.
Probably
Mark.
faster than you think, because I know a guy who could probably
Yes.
help you out there. But yeah, because you were live streaming, and you got some really good shots, and we're actually going to take some of your live stream feed and put it into a bonus episode.
Oh, please do. Like, I've done this as a career. I've been very fortunate. I never thought I could get paid for raising hell, but I've done this, as a career, and since 2018, and so I've worked on some national campaigns to get some things done in DC. I've worked on local things in Fort Valley. I'm that person that some congressmen may call. I'm that person throughout the United States. I'm that person that even some attorneys will call to see how I interpret something, and I've never been to law school, so I know that this is something that Alla Dumari selected for my life path, and so I'm confident in that, and Yeah, so
Good.
I'm a kick-ass strategist on anything like competitive. And if I say this is how this needs to get done, you're gonna win. You're gonna get some results with it. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
I'll put my faith in an individual that has passion over somebody with a piece of paper or a plaque any day of the week.
yes, because they just have theories. They don't have any practical knowledge.
Right.
Yeah,
And they get locked into whatever it is, whatever their
yeah.
degree is in, they get locked into it. But that being the case, we are all what's the word I'm looking for? Coagulating towards this danger of the smart city. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick because I want to show a few things. And whenever you guys can see the multiverse of madness, please. Anyway, so it's like this, and I got to get my comic book geek stuff out, right? When I've known about smart cities for a long time, since 2012, with all the weirdo conspiracy theory rabbit holes that I went down and then experienced. But whenever the smart city stuff was announced here in Warner Robins, this made my spidey sense go off, and I'm sitting here like, and now I do not understand how specifically people in public office. And look, I will never run for political office, so I can say whatever I want to say, and I've never really been shady about who I am or what philosophy I'm all about, and I'm all about unalienable rights for all men who are created equal by their creator. I think the Bill of Rights and the Constitution probably needs an update, but it's a pretty good document whenever you're coming from the right place. And I have never understood how anybody in public office could look at a smart city, specifically with this flock camera mass surveillance thing, or and not have the same amount of trepidation about it as me. But everybody knows the Dark Knight, right? And there, and let me just say, you ladies, I know Mona has to hear comic book crap all the time. I'm not sure how much you ladies are into comic books, but I find a lot of great philosophy and lessons from superhero stories. I think it's just archetypes that are universal. But there was one movie where Batman loses, and it's The Dark Knight. Like the Joker actually wins, and it was because of his moral compass being knocked off kilter to compromise. And I don't know. I'm going to play this clip, and you ladies let me know if you remember this scene.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful, unethical, dangerous. You've turned every cell phone in Gotham into a microphone.
And a high-frequency generator receiver.
You took my sonar concept and applied it to every phone in the city. With half the city feeding you sonar, you can image all of Gotham. This is wrong.
I've got to find this man, Lucius.
At what cost?
The database is now key encrypted. It can only be accessed by one person.
This is too much power for one person.
That's why I gave it to you. Only you can use it.
Spying on 30 million people isn't part of my job description.
This is an audio sample. If he talks within range of any phone in the city, you can triangulate his position.
I'll help you this one time. But consider this my resignation. As long as this machine is at Wayne Enterprises, I won't be.
When you're finished, type in your name.
And so, did you ladies see this movie and this scene?
I did.
It's
No.
coming
Go ahead.
back. Like I'm not that big of a person, but I totally get it.
You're
And
right. And
I
this
just want
movie
to
was
say I love
made.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, it was made like over, I think, 10, 15 years ago now. And it's like Batman loses in that movie because of his compromise and Morgan Freeman, and I'm like, we go to movies like this and we cheer on movies like this, and when it's right in front of us, we can't see it. The whole thing is,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to compromise privacy and civil rights to catch the villain, whoever the villain of the week is. And Morgan Freeman's character, Lucius Fox, he's like, this is surveilling all of
Unethical.
these people is just wrong,
Unethical.
unethical. Now, I want to jump real quick to the 2014, The Winter Soldier. This is a Captain America movie. And this is coming from a different comic industry, but let's watch this real quick and see if we haven't been, something out there hasn't been trying to warn us.
This is Project Insight. 3 next-generation helicarriers synced to a network of targeting satellites.
Launch from the Lemurian star.
Once we get them in the air, they never need to come down. Continuous suborbital flight courtesy of our new repulsor engines.
Stark?
He had a few suggestions once he got an up-close look at our old turbines. These new long-range precision guns can eliminate 1,000 hostiles a minute. The satellites can read a terrorist's DNA before he steps outside his spider hole. We're going to neutralize a lot of threats before they even happen.
Thought the punishment usually came after the crime.
We can't afford to wait that long.
Who's we?
After New York, I convinced the World Security Council we needed a quantum surge in threat analysis. For once, we're way ahead of the curve.
By holding a gun to everyone on Earth and calling it protection.
You know, I read those SSR files. Greatest Generation? You guys did some nasty stuff.
Yeah. We compromised, sometimes in ways that made us not sleep so well. But we did it so that people could be free. This isn't freedom. This is fear.
SHIELD takes the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be. It's getting damn near past time for you to get with that program, Cap.
Don't hold your breath.
So, and I hope the audio came through on that for you ladies. But you see the thing,
It did.
which is sacrifice freedom for safety. You know, and it's like I don't understand how local officials on a local level, a state level, or a federal level, with this in the collective consciousness, the like just clips like this from a decade or more ago, trying to warn us, hey, you know, mass surveillance under the guise of safety is not a good thing. And it's like Benjamin Franklin said, if you sacrifice essential liberty for security, you get neither.
Yep.
So that is where a lot of my concern comes. And I'm glad that you reached out to us because it was divine timing, because Fort Valley is looking at what is already covering most of Perry, Macon, and Warner Robins. And so I think that we let you know that we did address this at our city council. And I want to share with you what me, Mona, and Mike Jones from Controversial Conversations, how we kind of brought our concerns to our local officials, so you can kind of make a roadmap for Fort Valley. So let me know when you ladies can see the screen.
See it.
We're all good? All right.
See it.
So this was February 18th this year. And this is a city council meeting, you know, the public part of the city council meeting, you know, when they do the Netflix show for everybody. Citizens' comments. So here we go.
Minutes on the podium there. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes on the rotunda clock, and then it will beep when your time is concluded. Please note that neither I nor council can respond to you, but we are listening. The door is now open for citizen comments.
Minister Crumpton, 111 Sherwood. Benjamin Franklin wrote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. When legal loopholes and rhetorical justifications lull the public into accepting the erosion of their rights, there can be no doubt that our country and community is undergoing a constitutional crisis. This crisis is at all of our doors, regardless of party affiliation, faith, race, economic status, or any other demographic title we choose to identify with. How it got here is due to a widespread ignorance or diminishment of the founding documents that our forebears gave us to keep a republic, which is now morphing into a dystopian fascist state before all our eyes. The Fourth Amendment is very clear. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Yet under the banner of public safety, our privacy, papers, and personal effects have been compromised by mass surveillance through the flock camera system that can track, trace, and database our comings and goings, and have entangled us in an AI system that triggers automated warrants without proper judicial oversight, violating due process. While this system's implementation may have had the best of intentions, it nevertheless is in contradiction to the Fourth Amendment and repugnant to the Constitution, and should be to all who swore an oath before the Most High to defend it. To make matters worse, this month our county and community once again welcomed Operation Rolling Thunder with its parade and a show of force through our streets to announce unlawful checkpoints and aggressive warrantless stops and investigations at random of we the people, while under the guise of preventing accidents caused by drunk or distracted drivers, which may have reassured those less familiar with the Fourth Amendment's protections, but it remains an undeniable violation of our rights. I would again point you to the words of Benjamin Franklin on sacrificing liberty for safety, and add that public safety is no excuse for diminishing civil rights by any degree. And to do so during Black History Month is more of an insult to the injury, as our melanated brothers, sisters, and neighbors know all too well the cost of claiming their unalienable God-given rights more than most of us, as it is our marginalized communities that suffer the most from this sort of tyranny. You don't have to take my word for it. Just ask Mr. Law Dixon, whose rights were violated during Operation Rolling Thunder for safety and security's sake, with false allegations and charges under this endeavor in our city, forcing an apology from the Georgia State Patrol for their transgression of his rights. I urge this council to uphold the Constitution and reject any policy that undermines our rights under the color of law. The Bill of Rights is not a difficult read, and one does not require a law degree to understand it or apply it. The question is not whether these policies make us feel safer, but whether they keep us free. Thank you.
Thank you. I call him Daniel, but thank you so much. Will there be any others?
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Mona Lucia, and I live at 111 Sherwood, Warner Robins. And I'm here today to bring awareness on the devastating impact of the ICE detainments on families in our community. While the headlines often reduce these incidents to mere statistics, the truth is these are deeply human stories with real lasting consequences. I'd like to share the story of someone I know personally. Her name is Cassandra, a woman living here in Houston County, whose life was upended when ICE came to her door. Her family was enjoying a peaceful evening, trying to have dinner when they came for her ex-husband, citing issues with his citizenship. The arrest wasn't just an ordeal for him. It was a traumatic event for the entire family. Her 21-year-old son, who was autistic, was completely shaken. Her 12-year-old son was terrified as officers stormed their home, disrupting their lives in a way that no child should have to experience. To make matters worse, after the arrest, they would not even let her speak to him or see him, and it's been 3 weeks. He has very serious health issues that she is in charge of, and they are not working in coordination with her to make sure his health is okay. She's now trying to take care of her family. She has 5 kids. She has exhausted her savings and now has to move out due to this isolated incident. Can you imagine the lasting emotional scars this family carries? This is not just an isolated incident. These raids and detainments are tearing families apart, often without consideration of the mental, emotional, and physical harm inflicted on innocent bystanders, particularly the children. This is not just a policy issue. This is a human rights issue. The Hispanics are a big part of this county. They make up the backbone. As a community, we cannot stand idly by while families are traumatized in the name of immigration enforcement. We need humane solutions, one that respect the dignity of every individual and prioritize the well-being of our community as a whole. I urge this county and this council to stand with families like Cassandra's and push for greater accountability and reform. Our community deserves better. If anybody would like to help, I do have Cassandra's GoFundMe. Thank you.
Now, Miss Marsha, this next gentleman, this is Mike Jones from Controversial Conversation. He's been an activist in the community for a while, and he just released protest poetry on Spotify. But I'm going to have to connect you with him, but I want you to really hear what he has to say because he slams it home in my opinion.
Thank you, Miss Lucia.
Michael Jones, 6080 Lakeview Road. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Y'all know I've been a vocal and active supporter of this administration. I've highlighted the positive things you've done in the city because I believe in giving credit where it's due. And that's exactly why I have to hold you accountable when you overstep. And let's be clear, Rolling Thunder Protocol was not about public safety. It was an overreach, an abuse of power, and a blatant scare tactic meant to intimidate the people of this city into compliance. And that is not leadership. That is not governance. That is fear mongering. We know crime is down, and we know there are better ways to invest in public safety. Yet instead of supporting real solutions like community programs, better infrastructure, and economic opportunities, you double down on over surveillance and intimidation tactics. Let's talk about Breckenridge. Over 30 police officers and squad cars strategically placed around a heavily Hispanic neighborhood. Y'all really thought we wouldn't notice the attempted ICE-style intimidation? You claim to be protecting citizens, yet you're extorting them with these tactics. And let's be real, you've been silent on the video that we have all seen. We know what happened, so tell me, why hasn't a single one of you addressed it? Since you claim this is about bad driving and public safety, I need real data. I want to see records of residents that show the increase in reckless driving is unique to Warner Robins and not Perry or Centerville, because as it stands, the justification for heat funding looks a whole lot like a way to expand policing and revenue generation rather than actual traffic safety. So here's a real way forward. If you want to make Warner Robins safer, you don't need Rolling Thunder. You can make Warner Robins more walkable and accessible because safer streets come from better sidewalks, street lighting, crosswalks, and bike lanes. And when people feel comfortable walking in their neighborhoods, that's when crime drops. And you could use heat funding to fix the streets and not over-police them. Because you claim traffic safety is an issue, you could use that grant money to improve traffic lights, fix dangerous intersections, because bad driving doesn't need more surveillance, it needs better infrastructure. And you can invest in the community programs and not fear tactics. If crime reduction is really the goal, then we do need to invest in job training, youth programs, and mental health support, and create economic opportunities in the very neighborhoods that you're targeting with this heavy police presence. And we could form a public safety oversight committee. We need an independent civilian-led committee to review operations like Rolling Thunder and ensure transparency and accountability. If y'all believe in these tactics, you shouldn't be afraid of oversight. So here's the deal. You have 72 hours to let me know when each one of you and the police chief will be coming on to Controversial Conversation to defend your position. I'm gonna give you a chance for accountability. If the goal is to make Warner Robins safer, the solutions are here: community-driven, effective, and humane. But if the goal is to intimidate, surveil, and control, then Rolling Thunder is the path you'll stick with. The choice is yours, but know this: the community is watching, and we're ready to lead where you won't. We're done playing politics with people's lives. And no matter what, we will continue to demand levels of accountability and full transparency. So I'll see you soon. You know my name. You know where to find me. We can have that conversation, or we'll get the records and we'll have it for you. Peace.
America's at a crossroads. Are you watching or are you speaking? Michael Jones isn't just watching. He's spitting fire. Protest poetry is raw and unapologetic. His words aren't just heard, they ignite action. Support the movement. Wear the message. Grab your merch. It's time to rise. Are you ready to listen?
Can of sense is common sense.
Welcome to the Can of Sense Total Wellness Collective. You're just a few simple clicks away from getting the cannabis products you want and have them delivered right to your home. So how does it work? Don't worry, it's easy. First, go to cannasense.com. Click the Join Now button. Next, fill out the sponsorship form. If you don't have a sponsor, just type CannaSense in the field. Next, submit the form and wait for your welcome email. Once you receive your welcome email, log into your account. Click on Apothecary to see all of the available inventory. Choose your products, pay for your order, and track your package. Remember, delivery times vary by location.
Now, Miss Marsha, had you seen this city council meeting before tonight?
No.
Okay. Have you processed what you heard?
I was watching everybody and just kind of their, body language to see if, who was, paying attention, who was leaned in, you know, who may have smirked during the 3 minutes that the three of you all, were given. And of course, I have to say it, I want to go on record and I, voice that to you, Daniel. Mayor Patrick has done a very good job. She and I, had disagreements when she was the city attorney for Fort Valley. I did not think she wouldn't do a good job as mayor. I know those are two different roles. With seeing, faces that look like mine, and I pause and I hope that they just didn't understand the ramifications, of this. I think oftentimes our elected officials, they see the presentation from public safety, from police, and there's this belief that that policing in the United States of America is fine, and it's not. It needs to be reimagined, and it doesn't need to be reimagined with smart cities, because you can't teach technology culture. You can't teach technology people skills. The issues that and concerns that we have, even with AI, which, from the information regarding the smart city presentation that's been presented to the city of Fort Valley, these cameras will have a lot of AI technology in them. And so computers only know the information you put into it. And so they will have information that is biased. They will have information in that technology that will not have a humanistic approach, that will not have a compassionate approach, that will not be able to practically think and rightly discern a situation. And to have people that I know, and I will reach out to them in love, love, correction, and, just having a frank conversation with them to, make sure that they understand that the things that they fought for and protested for, that you should not turn around at this point and usher in those same oppressive systems just because neighboring areas are doing it. You have to go back to the things that our grandmothers and parents said. I'm old school. So if your friend jump off of the cliff, you're going to jump off too. So just because New York is doing it, just because Atlanta is doing it, just because this area is doing it. And we also have to be mindful of when it's time for, elections. Everybody wants that big thing, that they're doing. But we really need to give some thought to this. Government should not happen to people. People should not feel like government is happening to them. We are in a republic that practices democracy, and we vote people in not to make decisions for us, but to inform us of the decisions before they make them, so that we can collaborate and they can know how their constituents and the community and the taxpayers, feel. And it is, as you can see, I'm just, speechless, and I can tell that they heard you, that they listened to you. And so what has been the feedback since you
Okay.
all spoke. Yeah. You know, it sounds smart, it sounds modern, it sounds sexy, smart city.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
just looking at different areas, this is not the concept of smart cities that communities was looking forward to, as what's his name, Mike Jones, as he, kind of relate, create green space, create walking spaces.
Right.
Warner Robins doesn't have a transit system, does it? No. Consider,
No.
consider more, yeah, consider doing some things technology wise that's going to make it, you know, a better place. Bring jobs in, because I'm often quoted as saying this. Sabrina, I know you said, if you hear something, you can take it. So when a person, when you look at the sociology of crime, you know, often you see it impact, and I push back against black on black crime, because if you go onto the FBI and do crimes by race, you'll see that white on white crime is like 6% lower than black on black crime. And most of your crime is going to be a domestic issue, meaning that it's going to happen in your community. Your community is your neighborhood, is where you go worship, is where you go grocery shopping. There are several communities within Warner Robins, several communities within Fort Valley. And so you're going to have your issue. As Sabrina, she had a domestic thing that she was, open about. She had an issue with her ex, and it just led to a moment. And so if, you borrow something from your neighbor or somebody that you're working with, them, that makes it domestic. And so oftentimes you're going to see that people, when they're hungry, when they don't have jobs, when they can't figure out how to pay their bills, and their stomach starts to touch their back, then they're going to think of some unscrupulous ways, some things that they may not have been raised to do,
Mhm.
some things that they may not have intended to do, never saw themselves doing those things, just to feed their families. And so there has to be a reimagining of policing in the United States, definitely in the South, because it is a culture. It is a different culture here, and where that stems from. And it is very disheartening to see this, ushered in, even in Atlanta. Atlanta's a chocolate city. Atlanta takes pride in being in walking in Black excellence. So to have a area that is majority Black, and to have this, ushered in under a Black administration and Black leadership and Black excellence, I just think it's something that should be paused, and some data should be collected. So I'll just stop there, and just,
Mhm.
so you can share what the responses have been thus far, if there has been.
Okie dokie. So, to try to answer your question,
Yes.
and everyone who's followed me over from the Wartown Times or Zen in the Car, they know that I consider Madam Mayor to be a friend. There are, a couple on council that I consider to be friends. I don't give two shits about Charlie Bibb. I think he's a disgrace. I think that he is just a smear on the face of Warner Robins, and I've publicly said that. I think that he doesn't need to be there at all. Okay, and of course, in that video, you can only see so much. The response near the end, and I was going to show it, but this would go too long. I mean, it's all a matter of record, so people can go back and look at the city council meeting. Is obviously, they weren't expecting anyone to really come out and oppose this smart city thing or whatever. I think that they did have a little bit of expectations that people would be pissed about Operation Rolling Thunder. And we've discussed this, me and the ladies. Listen, that triggered an entire city when they paraded stormtroopers through our town. What did you expect? with that much show of force with Operation Rolling Thunder and an entire city of veterans with PTSD, CPTSD, legal abuse syndrome, etc., and the melanated community and the brown people who are getting deported and put in internment camps, what did you expect? Did you not expect some kind of a pushback from a city that is literally called Wartown? Are you out of your mind? So I apologize. Sorry, not sorry, as the kiddies say. But it's like, I'm hoping, Marsha, that they just didn't think about the Fourth Amendment, which is scary as shit. Okay? That's scarier to me. That at no point did any of these council people think about the Fourth Amendment before they signed a contract with Flock Security or whatever it is. But to try to stay on, because I just got triggered myself. I'm having an emotional flashback. Their responses, essentially, not verbatim, was, okay, listen, guys, we know that you're upset about Operation Rolling Thunder. Okay, however, there's a hierarchy here. And Operation Rolling Thunder wasn't really like Warner Robins' deal. We had to do it because we all have bosses above us, okay? People who tell us what to do at another level in a hierarchy, okay? So sorry, we didn't like how Operation Rolling Thunder was executed. Next time it'll be different because we have to listen to our authorities. We'll get to that, okay? So that was one part of the collective response from City Council. Sorry about Rolling Thunder. We had to do it. The governor told us to do it. Okay. And then on the other end, especially Charlie Bibbers, okay, which we'll get further into him. His reaction or response to my protestations about a 1984 Orwellian state was, we saved a baby. In 30 minutes, there was a baby kidnapped, and in 30 minutes, we found that baby. And so, see? And then I was absolutely livid because I'm like, they always do that. They always take it to the extreme. Of course, you're going to have a good story, okay, about saving a baby. And it's got to be a baby, too. You know, it had to be a baby that they saved 30 minutes with the flock camera system, okay? And I'm sitting here thinking about Sabrina. Yeah. And in 30 minutes, a single mother got tased and kidnapped and taken to a cage. So I could spit that shit right back at you, Charlie Bibb. Right? So that was kind of the response. And was, okay, well, you know, we can't really do anything about Rolling Thunder. We'll try to do better next time. It's really out of our hands. And then, hey, this is for public safety, having a camera that can scan everyone's whereabouts and where they go and yada, yada, yada. Okay, that was basically their response, right? So, you know, I did not intend to blindside anyone with my remarks at City Council because I think that this is a blatantly clear situation and scenario. And if I got to be the kook that's on the wall, you know, with his like on fire screaming, hey, the British are coming. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. Like we said, any tool that you give well-intentioned people becomes a weapon in the hands of others. So I think that it really honestly, Marsha, that what their response was is they were a little shell-shocked that, one, anybody was looking at it from this angle, you know, and two, like, is this going to continue to be a thing? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, anyway, so that was kind of their response, which is, we can only do what our bosses tell us and believe us. We have the best of intentions with this surveillance system. So shut the fuck up and go home is essentially.
Okay.
You know.
So I'm going to call bullshit because Georgia is a state that allows home rule. Our United States Constitution gives municipalities sovereignty that they don't give to counties. Okay. And so in Georgia, we have home rule where it allows municipalities to implement home rule. And with Madam Mayor being an attorney, and then I'm sure you all have a city attorney, I would just like to see more of our elected officials, because I see this often. Atlanta has had mayors that were attorneys as well through the years. Getting together and saying, okay, how is this going to impact our community? Weighing the pros and cons, the negatives of it. We all saw what occurred when I saw people posting about, what is it, Operation Rolling Thunder?
Mm-hmm.
When I saw people posting about the heavy police presence in Warner Robins shortly after the change of guard of a new administration, or right before, I knew, and I posted and I said, this is a practice for ICE. This is a practice for, to just kind of see how people will respond, and if in the event, because, and Houston County would be a perfect place for that. Just given the area and how everyone kind of leaned in, and just knowing the history, me growing up in this area. I can honestly tell you, I'm 50, and I can honestly tell you that as a kid, you knew there were just certain areas, Byron, you drive below the speed limit, and before Centerville was created, Warner Robins, you kind of knew that same thing. And so even now, I go to Warner Robins, I go get what I'm getting, and I get out of there because of just what I knew growing up. But I can say that Warner Robins has a lot of transplants from other places.
Mm-hmm.
And so that old thought, hopefully in 10 or 15 years, I hate to just say it like it is. Some things you got to just wait for people to just natural causes to just die off, because you can't change. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
You can't change, an old thought. If we just do the math on when the Civil Rights Bill was passed, when Jim Crow ended, I think we're talking 71.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody 71, black, white, from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
you see. And so, this is just heavy. And I know they will try to blame it on having the military base there, but the military base, this is the U.S.'s military. So they already got the trinkets, on the base.
Right.
If it's something that, we really need protection from, it's just that, and I'm going to just drop this pin here. Just know if there's ever a nuclear war, we knew this as growing up, like it's a wrap for us in this area. Okay.
Yes.
Like we on the list. Thanks to Warner Robins. Appreciate
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Yes. But with this, this is, they know, because I can just only go off of the information that, goes out with these presentations from these companies to these cities about smart cities. It's telling them that it's going to be able to register the tags, that it will be able to censor gunfire and shootings and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And so if it's really working and it's already here in Warner Robins, then why are they still posting people on Crime Stoppers? Because the technology allegedly is here. Yeah. So, and then what is so concerning about it, it's like you're in a catch-22, because we don't necessarily want that in the government's hand, but then now you have this private company that has all of this data, and I don't like to misspeak, but I want to think Warner Robins getting recognition from of a foreign entity, that it wasn't even the United States, as far as them getting some data about the smart city. Mm-hmm. So you have this private corporation that is housing the personal information of your residents. And even if your police need to get to it, because it is a private entity, like they're more than likely going to have to get like a subpoena from a judge just to kind of access those
Right,
things.
right.
Are we checking out how long these companies have been in existence? Do they just see a windfall? Oh, this is what is going on. Let's start this company. I
Right.
have my certification in cybersecurity. Let's start this company.
Where does it
And
end?
yeah,
And we're coming up on another hour break. Can you go another hour,
I can.
ladies?
Just don't you yeah, I can. This is my life. Like
Okay.
I live life. So.
Okay, yeah, because let's go to another break because you're getting into some more
What
meat of what we really want to discuss, and it's like
okay.
it's a spider web. It's a spider web.
Are
So let's
you all good with another hour? Because you might have a date or something. Sabrina and Mona.
Mona
I'm
better not have
good.
no damn date. This
Oh.
is Mona's date.
I'm good.
Hey,
Girl, as long as I got
They
some
say
smoke
when
over
this
here,
shit.
I'm good.
Marsha,
Okay.
Marsha. Oh, by the way, ladies, I don't know if you could see this trinket. This trinket that's on my microphone.
Oh my God.
It says Mona's bitch is what it
Stop.
says right here. All right. So,
Oh.
ladies, let's take 10, and then we'll be right back, and then we'll
Okay.
get into some
Cool.
email stuff. Okay.
Step into your power with Mona Lucia, Tarot, and Reiki. Realign your energy, gain clarity, and embrace healing. Whether you seek guidance through tarot or balance through Reiki, your journey starts here. Visit monalucia.com and book your session today.